Across the vast floodplains of East Africa, the wet season is in full swing. The rivers are full and the foliage green and healthy. Along the riverbanks, a small herd of Ouranosaurus are grazing in the rain. These are hadrosaurs, one of the most common and widespread group of dinosaurs. The large adults are making use of the fresh vegetation growth while the going is good, whereas the young play amongst them. Two of these youngsters, a pair of males, run along the edges of the herd in a mock race. They push against each other as they run, their speed and maneuverability something they will lose when they reach adulthood. The brothers run until they are exhausted, and pause to catch their breath. Looking up, they realize they have strayed into the tree line, and are some distance from the herd, still by the river's edge. Deeply ingrained instinct tells the both of them to return to the adults for protection. But before they can move out, an odd smell hits them. It is not one they recognize, and that fact makes them nervous. The brothers can tell the source of the smell is getting closer, and they cautiously drop to the ground. Now well hidden amongst the plants thanks to their camouflage, it isn't long before their decision to hide is proven wise. From behind the trees, a predator emerges, one that they have never seen before. Critops, a 6-meter carnivore, slowly stalks through the forest. His kind is rare to see compared to some other predators, but he is easily capable of killing the young Ouranosaurus. Fortunately for the two males, he hasn't spotted them. His gaze is fixed on the herd in the distance, looking for a suitable target. He is, however, walking straight for them, his slow march nearly silent against the rainfall. The carnivore draws closer. The brothers sit completely still. Their only hope is that the Critops doesn't step on them. The predator walks so close that one of the youngsters can make out the scales on his feet. All the Critops needs to do is avert his gaze slightly, and he would see the two terrified Ouranosaurus at his feet. For what felt like an hour, the silent hunter slowly stepped past the hidden hadrosaurs and continued along the forest edge. The juveniles now have to make a choice: stay hidden or make a run for it. There is no telling if the Critops would double back the way it came or pick up their scent. When they couldn't see him from their prone position, the first one leapt to his feet and ran, followed swiftly by his brother. The two broke the tree line and began to call desperately for their herd, hoping to be rescued. A shrill snarl echoed behind them. Risking a glance behind themselves, the brothers saw the angry Critops sprinting towards them, and it was much faster than them. They continued to call out, moving as fast as their legs would carry them. They were so close, yet the predator was gaining so quickly they might as well be kilometers away. Their pursuer was now so near that they could smell the saliva as it opened up its mouth ready to strike. Suddenly, a resounding bellow came from the riverside, so loud that all three dinosaurs swiveled their head to the source. A massive Ouranosaurus weighing 4 tons answered the adolescent's call. With a stomp on the ground, the adult lowered his head and charged, his massive frame bounding towards the aggressor, his eyes filled with rage. The Critops slid to a stop in surprise. The two brothers almost stopped mid-run themselves from their protector's terrifying display. As the huge male advanced, still letting out a deep growl, the two juveniles veered to the left to avoid his charge. The now panicked Critops spun around and sprinted back to the trees. No meal was worth getting trampled to death. With the predator far outpacing him, the adult male slowed to a stop before the forest, breathing heavily and stomping on the ground as a final warning. Still shaken, the brothers were now in the center of the herd and were nuzzled by some of the females to calm them down. They had survived thanks to their father's protection and were reluctant to leave the adults again. The huge male called out as he returned, signaling it was time to move downriver. The whole herd did without complaint, but as the brothers looked to the forest edge, they could see faint movement. The hunter was already back, stalking at a distance, for one successful hunt was never a deterrent. He only had to succeed once. The brothers huddled closely together. They would look out for each other, always. Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Today we will be breaking down the sailback that was never a sailback, Ouranosaurus. Ouranosaurus, whose name means courageous monitor lizard, was a large hadrosaur dinosaur from the early Cretaceous period, found in the Republic of Niger. Originally discovered in 1965, 2 near-complete skeletons were found, followed by 3 additional finds in Cameroon. Ouranosaurus measured from 7 to 8.3 meters in length, stood around 3 meters tall, and weighed between 2.4 to 4 tons. It had a wide skull with a wide beak, and batteries of teeth that grind down the vegetation it ate. The most distinguishing feature of Ouranosaurus are its large vertebrae, that many scientists assumed were a display sail, like that of a Spinosaurus or Dimetrodon. However, these vertebrae are too thick and bound together by tendons to likely be sails. It is more likely that it functioned like a bison's vertebra, used to hold muscle and fat, and was a display feature secondly. So a modern interpretation looks like this. It could potentially use its forearms and hands to hold down branches to get at leaves. It also bore a spike on each thumb, though these were smaller than those of its cousin Iguanodon. Though it walked on 4 legs, it could run on 2, but it wouldn't have been very quick. This is due to its hind legs being more for supporting its own weight than running. To avoid predation, Ouranosaurus most likely relied on living in herds and its size. If that wasn't enough, it may have fled into water to escape. Ouranosaurus lived around 110 million years ago. At this time, Niger was dominated by floodplains. It shared this area with species such as Hadrosaurus, Hadrosaurus, Suchomimus, Critops, Nigersaurus, Sarcosuchus, and Antasuchus. Hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs like Ouranosaurus, were very common in the Cretaceous period, and spread to every corner of the globe, evolving a range of unique features. Ouranosaurus is a great example, as it had its massive vertebra and had a unique head shape. Though hadrosaurs are often seen as rather vanilla compared to some other dinosaur families, I assure you there are many fascinating species amongst them. But what do you think of Ouranosaurus? Do you prefer the original sail design or the humpback design? What lesser-known dinosaur would you like me to cover in a future episode? Until then, remember to always look out for those close to you.